we first arrived.
And I was dancing in the car.
Yeah, I got you on the little video, and you're like, oh, the music was playing, and you were just like 100% lit up that you were back in your soul home. But you were dancing. It was the first time I've ever actually seen you dance. Welcome, sisters. This is Sarah Grace
and Divine Harmony, and we are here inviting you to join us on our sacred Sisterhood pilgrimage to Egypt in October 2018. I am so excited to be returning to this land. It's truly the land of my soul. We'll be weaving astrology and mythology with continuum, which is the serpent energy in the body, and anchoring these cosmic energies into our physicality there in these profound places in Egypt. We'll be visiting some sites that people don't visit, that people don't know about, don't know that they're potent, that there's something worth visiting. Some of them are places that just, they're open to the public but nobody ever goes, and others are ones that are not, and we're getting privates.
I spent a month there with Harmony last year, and I feel like being on the land and being there in the most natural way. So the way where I was actually feeling like a local, and that's how we will be traveling, is actually being within a sisterhood with a beautiful brother named Ahmed, who will be our guide. Total brother. He's a very special guide in the sense that he is the energy of true high priest, actually, holding the feminine. And I mean, the amount of protection I felt with him. He just has this, like, I know who you are, women, I know what you're doing, and I'm going to hold you, and just be that sacred pillar of the masculine for us. It was huge.
Not all guides actually know how to read hieroglyphs. He has a 2-year degree in studying the hieroglyphs. And to me that was really important, because I want to know what it says, and I want to know the hidden meaning. There's always the surface meaning of words and of etymology, and then there's like the deeper hidden meaning, and he knows these.
And Katie Nora, the beautiful elder who has lived there for 40 years?
30, well, maybe 35.
Something like that. She's a beautiful sister in her 70s. I mean, she's just so eclectic, and
she's a fiery
goddess.
Spirit. Yes, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And she is going to be teaching us the Egyptian Star of Life, which is kind of channeled material that came through her. We'll be going to her home, which is right in front of the Pyramids of Giza. We're going to be having amazing Egyptian organic vegan food and teachings in her home. She brings, so much potency and beautiful teachings that are going to be amazing to share with everyone. And then also a big piece of this for me anyhow is I'm a mythologist, and I love myths, and I love getting to the root of the original myth. A lot of the myths that we know about, that we hear about, Isis and Osiris, and there are older, more ancient myths that go back beyond these contemporary ones that we hear of today. And I am very into digging and getting to those myths because they change over time because of political and social reasons. And to really get to the original ones and remember some of these deities, these goddesses and gods that have been maligned or forgotten, I think is really important in reclaiming the original Egyptian mystery. So that is going to be a big part of this journey.
Yeah, I mean, Harmony's, the sister's wisdom is, oh my gosh, I bow down to her, and how she understands the hieroglyphs and the temples and the goddesses and gods. I learned so much being with this sister. And one of the pieces that I would bring is how do we fully take these myths and then ground them down into our bodies. So I'm a somatic therapist, and one of the things that we'll be doing there is a continuum movement. Continuum movement really bases its wisdom from ancient Greece and ancient Egypt. So we're going to be playing with how do we access the living serpent inside our bodies, and then moving forward on the land from that place. How do we take the hieroglyphs and their messages and feel it inside our tissues, feel it inside our bones? Because really, the temple is not outside of us, it's here. This is the temple. And we'll be having this beautiful experience back in ancient Egypt, within the temple, having the memories come back as sisterhood of how we were and are. They say lifetimes are parallel. I will find out one day, but I feel that we're going to be gathering as a sisterhood of bringing the remembrance of our ancient time there. And so much of these myths were actually ignited through embodiment practices and invoking these gods and goddesses, the serpent, the flower of life, the Ankh. You see so many images of a priestess passing the key of life to another being. So we will be doing this to help support our health, our empowerment as women, our prayers to land into our body and into earth more. And we'll be holding, there's so many hawks flying above.
That's a vulture. That's Mut. The vulture is a
Divine
very
Mother.
sacred bird in ancient Egypt.
Right.
The vulture was seen as the great mother, and Mut was always shown with a vulture on her head as a goddess. And so I have a lot of vulture encounters whenever Egypt is up. So that was synchronistic.
Right. So beautiful. And also just the womb practices we'll be doing in the sense of the living prayer that lives within the womb space. So I work very specifically with helping mamas and women who are on the path to becoming mothers, and women who have birthed, and all women really. But what is it that's the living prayer that's within our womb center? What are we creating? What are we calling forth in our life, whether it's a child or a project? And these lands, the temples will help hold these codes that will start awakening through our body. And we'll be able to alchemize the two, the knowledge, the gnosis, with embodied somatic practices. So we're really excited.
Yes, very. And then just one last thread, I guess, is the astrology. So this period of time was actually chosen intentionally. We arrived just a few days before Venus stations retrograde, and Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, goes into her underworld phase in Scorpio, which is a sign very associated with Egypt. We have a very profound evening planned for the night of Venus retrograde. And we will be entering into this ceremonial portal in a very powerful way. And we've got Venus retrograde guiding us. We're going to have a dark of the moon, which is all about releasing. It's very potent time for magic. And then we're going to have a new moon while we're there. And there's some other, significant aspects. And we'll be bringing that through every day. I'll be teaching and talking about what's going on astrologically, and we'll be weaving that together. For me, I've known returning there is about returning to retrieve key pieces of myself.
Now that I've been to the temple, sometimes I just sit in meditation and I place myself there, especially with Sekhmet.
Yeah.
So you will have one private with this beautiful goddess Sekhmet, where they say she's still living, and I can't say they say, it's true. She's a living statue.
It's a living
of her.
Statue, yes.
And
the energy is.
I call on her now, and I've had such a connection to her and to so many of the goddesses there. That it's like once you awaken a part, it can never go back to sleep.
Yes.
So that awakened connection and communion with these temples, with the gods and goddesses, they live in here. And since we've met them in the flesh in this lifetime here now, my life will never be the same. I feel like I've grown, and I trust more in how the Egyptian etaru, so how do we say that in English language? It's like the Egyptian gods and goddesses,
the netters,
they're holding me, and I now have that to kind of lean back into, because it's not just me as Sarah walking this earth. We are living embodiments of the divine, and when we have these recognitions and remembrances of the priests and priestesses and gods and goddesses that have been holding us for eons, we then walk in that, and we're here to serve Gaia in that and from that. And to do this again in sisterhood, I mean, amazing. More sisterhood.
I know.
Thank you. We love you, and we just can't wait to have just a communion on this land with you. So if you feel the call to join us this October, we'd love to have you. Please contact us and take a look at our websites. Mine is somaticsanctuary.com in Harmony.
It's divineharmony.com. And you can email us through our respective websites. We do have an application, and we can send more details on the itinerary. And if you're feeling the call, reach out to us.
Blessings.
Blessings.
Aloha.